Fire away.
Hi, greetings everybody. This is Wesley Pepper and this is Lexcia podcast. This is episode 142. So to all my new and returning listeners, much love everybody. Welcome to another episode. Just before I get to today's guest, remember to check out the African Juniors podcast and Naruto Talks Football. Both those are collaborations that I'm involved with, and the playlist is on the channel. Remember to check that out. And yeah, just one last thing before I get to today's guest. If you're new to this channel, you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. I would appreciate that a lot. And yeah, so today we're talking about 67 Blankets for Nelson Mandela 2024 with the esteemed Carolyn Steyn. So my sister, thank you very much for taking time out to come speaking to me, and welcome.
Thank you, Wesley. Happy to be here with you. Nice to chat.
Thank you, man. Yeah, so for my listeners who are not familiar with 67 Blankets for Nelson Mandela, because I know we're all familiar with the 67 minutes and Nelson Mandela Day, but just to give us just to break it down, who are you guys and what's it all about?
Okay, well, first of all, let's start, for those who don't know, because I often get asked this, is Mandela Day. What is Mandela Day? Mandela Day is the 18th of July, Mandela's birthday, where people around the world, and it's recognized by the United Nations as a global initiative, people around the world are encouraged to spend 67 minutes of their day doing something to help someone in need, someone less fortunate, someone who needs a helping hand. And why 67? Good question. Nelson Mandela spent 67 years of his life fighting for freedom and being of service to our country. And so it's a very little ask for 67 minutes of our day once a year. So 67 Blankets for Nelson Mandela Day started 10 years ago. I mean, we are 10 years old. Who would have thought? So on my husband's birthday, which is December 19th, 2013, we had just lost our beloved Madiba on the 5th of December.
Yeah.
And Zelda was his PA for many years. And we used to spend a lot of time, Doe, my husband and myself, spent a lot of one-on-one time with Madiba. And I mean, that was just sort of unreal for me, because I had never thought that I'd spend time with Nelson Mandela. Anyway, so Zelda was at the table. We were all feeling bruised about the loss of our beloved Nelson Mandela. We were talking about memories of Madiba, and what are we going to do for Mandela Day the following year? How are we going to live Mandela's legacy? And Zelda said, make 67 blankets. And it was light-hearted banter between two friends. And my sister, who was at the lunch table on Christmas Day, arrived with a ball of wool. I'm going to show you a ball of wool now.
Yeah.
And a crochet hook. Let me get this ball, thank you. And a crochet hook reminding me of my pledge. And so I started crocheting on Christmas Day 2013, and I realized I can't do this on my own. I didn't have 67 friends. And so on Facebook, I asked the friends that I did have on Facebook, who asked in turn their friends, who asked their friends. And it happened at 3:00 in the morning. I was online putting out the request, is there anybody out there that might be able to help me make a blanket, because I've pledged 67. And the next morning when I woke up a few hours later, I was amazed at the response. It just blew up, where I learned about the hashtag, the power of the hashtag.
Oh, yeah.
I knew nothing about social. So there was the hashtag, let's do it. Hashtag, yes, we will. Hashtag 67 blankets. Hashtag, all the hashtags you can think of. And so the power of the hashtag, the power of social media, the absolute power of Nelson Mandela combined. That simple idea, all of wool and a crochet hook, snowballing into what people are calling a movement for good, and a movement for change in our country and around the world. So that's how it started 10 years
Fantastic.
ago.
Firstly, many congrats for that. 10 years in anything is so many congrats for that. It's quite an achievement. Actually, I wanted to just before we go on. So you spent time with Nelson Mandela. What was he like as a as like a regular on like an everyday type of thing?
Well, first of all, let me say Nelson Mandela was not regular. He was not normal. When you were
Okay.
in his presence, you were with greatness. The first time I met Nelson Mandela, well, it happened like this. My husband was going to meet with Madiba at his house in Houghton,
Yeah, yeah.
and I hadn't met Madiba, and our relationship was very new, Doe's and mine. And I said, okay, bye-bye, honey, off you go, meet with Nelson Mandela, tell him I say hi. And the next thing I hear him shouting my name, Carolyn, Carolyn, come, we're going. But I wasn't ready to meet Nelson Mandela. I had no makeup. I was wearing my flip-flops. I was wearing my house dress. My hair was a mess. But, you know, when you got to go, you got to go.
Yeah, man.
So I
So,
found myself being whipped into the vehicle. And then I thought, okay, when I get to Mandela's house, I'll just stay in the car. Not to be. No, 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 no. You are coming with me, says Doe. So there I
yeah.
was in the lounge in the presence of Nelson Mandela. And I started to cry.
Yeah, I can
I mean, it
imagine.
was just so overwhelming. And I was crying also about the fact that, you know, my mother had such a absolute respect for Nelson Mandela, but she was no longer. I cried also for the fact that my mom would have been so proud of her little girl meeting the great man. So Nelson Mandela was the most generous, the most giving of his time. For instance, we'd be on our game farm, Shambhala. My husband built him a lovely home, a retreat, somewhere that he could go and spend quiet time and write another book. And so when he came to visit, you know, the time would come, the helicopter would arrive, and then the staff, 150 staff, all lined up to wave goodbye to Mandela. What does Mandela
Wow.
do? No, 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 no. He's not leaving. He's going to shake each and every single hand, which he does with such dignity and such, oh, just, he was a huge man.
Yeah, man.
You were always aware. You were always aware that you were in the presence of absolute and utter greatness.
Did he have a sense of humor?
He did. I'm trying to think. You know, the time that I spent with Mandela was before we all got crazy with our phones and iPads, and it wasn't really a thing. So the photographs I've got of Mandela, maybe I've got about 10 nice photographs, but if he were around today, it's like, Madiba, let's do a selfie, you know, although I don't think I would have had the guts to say that to Nelson Mandela. A sense of humor, yes. A naughty kind of twinkle in the eye. I remember him talking about, you know, I'd always be complaining about my weight, and he'd say, Carolyn, you eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and you give dinner to your enemy.
Uh,
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, interesting, interesting. Yeah, yeah. I think it's quite special to have stories like that. They will live on forever, forever. They'll be retold by your kids and their kids and so forth. So
Yeah,
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 man.
yeah.
Let's get back to the 67 blankets. Once again, congrats. 10 years is a major achievement. So once again, many congrats to that. So tell us like what yeah, you know, what do you guys do? Is there something special? I saw you guys have t-shirts on your website.
Mm.
What other merchandise? What other special? Is there a very specific type of blanket, a very specific aesthetic is going for this year, or just explain that a little bit to us?
Yeah, so we normally have a theme every year. I mean, for
Yeah.
instance, the first year it was just make a blanket made with love and send to 67 Blankets headquarters, our garage. We've got Stutterford van lines who transport all our blankets to and fro across the country free of charge. So if any of your viewers are thinking of moving house or country, don't move country. We live in a beautiful country. Started Van Lines. They are a company with a heart. So we laid out blankets in our first year that we did a big display at the Union Buildings in Pretoria, where we laid down, I don't know, 8,000 blankets. The eye can see in every direction. And there was Madiba on the day, smiling down on the work that is being done in his name. We've also created the massive Mandela masterpiece where we kickstarted the Mandela centenary celebrations. And that was, we worked with prisons all around the country, prisoners, men in orange uniform and women in blue, making blankets for people on the outside whose lives have been affected by crime and by poverty. So we had thousands and thousands of blankets being made by inmates around South Africa. So last year we did the activation in all regions around the country, and our theme was local blankets is lekker. You're talking about art and the fact that your viewers are artists.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, art with paint and colors, but there's certainly incredible artwork being done by our Knitwits for Madiba. Beautiful, beautiful blankets. We just released our coffee table book, and I'll show you. This is what it looks like.
Please show us.
67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day, the knitting and crochet revolution. And if you go through the book, you'll see incredible images of blankets made with love. This is a prisoner. I think this could be a Drakensberg prison where we did the biggest blanket in the world. We got the Guinness World Record for that. But let me look. Oh, here's a great example of artwork. There is Madiba's face, right? There's the statue. This is a Drakensberg Correctional Center. This is actually a blanket made with lots of little squares, which are pixels in the face of Nelson Mandela. This blanket was made by one. Huh?
Those blankets are done by the prisoners, correct?
Some of these blankets by prisoners, other blankets made by, people like yourself.
Specifically the Mandela one over there. Yeah.
The Mandela one was actually made, you met my assistant earlier. His mother, Lizetta Lotta, made this blanket with her own two hands. It took her months and months, but what an incredible, incredible piece of work. Let me see if I can find anything else that really hits in terms. Well, I just saw something. Look at this, Wesley. Okay, so this is where we started the Mandela centenary celebrations. This is at Zonderwater Maximum Correctional Center, prisoners all in these buildings here. So individuals like you, like me, created blankets, each blanket measuring 160 by 160 centimeters in black and gray, and put together in the right order. Let me tell you, this covered 2 rugby fields.
Yeah, it's huge.
Massive, massive. So when we were putting the blankets down, laying them out, you could not actually see Madiba's face because it's too big. So we had helicopter aerial photographs, and we have 2 images that were taken via satellite of the face of Nelson Mandela on to celebrate his centenary year in 2018. So you can see, I think that's artwork.
Yeah. It is. It's a massive installation. In fact, I just have 2 questions on that. How many or how big was the team that assembled the entire installation?
How big was the team? Yeah, so it took us about a year and a half to make the blankets. A lot of the black blankets were made in India. We've got a wonderful ambassador in India by the name of Rani Thomas, who galvanized her community to make black blankets. So then they shipped them all to South Africa. People in Cape Town, Bloemfontein, Durban, Johannesburg made a lot of the gray blankets. Prisoners made a lot of the gray blankets. Then, of course, we had lots of yellow blankets and, the colors of our flag, made by normal people and put together we have to thank the prisoners at Zonderwater who are serving lifetime sentences for actually arranging the blankets in the right order. I think there were about 150 guys that put these blankets, and they had a rehearsal here the day before. They had a rehearsal to see if the face actually worked, if the nose was in the right place, that we didn't have a nose where the eyes meant to be. And I tell you something, you saw all those guys laying out those blankets like a military operation.
Yeah,
And
I can imagine.
we had the helicopter, we had a drone flying over. And when we saw the image on the computer screen, you cannot believe the excitement of these guys, me and my team that were there. It was, we have done it.
That
Hashtag,
is a
we did it.
that's a massive thing, and to lay out those
Yeah, yeah,
blankets, it's a massive thing. So really
absolutely.
congrats.
So
What happened?
I encourage you to go to exclusive books and get a copy of this. There are limited copies, and so I think it'll be quite a collector's item one
Yeah,
day.
yeah. Can they get the book off your website as well?
Can they get off the website? Take a lot and our website. Not
Okay,
on our website yet, but take a
okay,
lot and exclusive books. Yeah.
fantastic. Just observation on that installation. That's massive, man. 2 rugby fields is huge.
Mm.
And the patients
Oh,
and
let me tell you
the
about
plan.
another recent work of art that we did was, when our booker came back with a Webb Ellis Trophy,
Yeah, yeah,
um, we decided there and then we were going to create the biggest booker blanket in the world. And we did. We laid it out at Steyn City School. And Yaku's actually searching for the picture right now in the book. So together, our nitwits around the country made blankets in green and gold, and put together, it was an explosion of pride, because there
yeah,
we had the spring and the green and gold laid out at Steyn City School, aerial photographs depicting, our pride in our booker. And they came back again recently with another web. Here it is.
yeah.
There. So
Wow.
again, each blanket is a pixel in that
Yeah, yeah,
massive blanket.
yeah. It's very cool.
Each blanket measuring 160 by 160 centimeters, put together in the right order. That's what you get. That's about 1.5 rugby fields. So,
Wow.
yeah, and that was put together by our staff here at home. We've got a team of men who spend a lot of time in the garage sewing labels on each blanket, saying 67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day. So the person receiving our
Yeah, I was gonna ask
blankets
about that.
they will look their entire life at the satin label at the bottom of the blanket, 67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day, so that they know that Madiba is still there looking after me and keeping me warm.
Yeah. Okay, great, man. So actually, I was gonna ask, like, what happens to the blankets afterwards? So you say you guys, use, you put that thing at the back, but does it get distributed anywhere, and who and how do, I guess, like, if there's an organization listening here that wants to be part of that, or in terms of receiving the blankets, how does that, or how does that work? How does that
Okay.
process work?
Yeah, so on our website, we've got a beneficiary request form where people fill out. There's an organization that needs 200 blankets. For instance, on 2 days ago, on Saturday, I went to Mpumalanga, to the Belfast Children's Home, where we distributed 160 blankets for these kids who have been abandoned, orphaned, not in a good situation in terms of family. One child that we met, an 11-year-old child, at the age of 7, his mother had stabbed him all over his body. So those kind of broken, traumatic backgrounds, and we go in there. We, create an environment and a day that we hope will remember with joy forever, where there's song and dance and some lovely talks, and then each child received a blanket, a beanie, and a toy. So yeah, people can fill out the beneficiary request form, send it to us at info@67blankets.co.za. We try to accommodate as many requests as we receive. So tomorrow we're in Diepsloot. I think there are 8 organizations that we're going to be distributing blankets to, and around the country. So our theme this year is peace, love, tolerance, because that is what we all need. This is what our country needs: peace, love, tolerance. Our world needs to remember and try to get there. So we are, in our way, putting it out there that this is what is so important and so needed in our country. So when people are making blankets, they have in their mind the theme: peace, love, tolerance. And again, if you look at our 67 Blankets Facebook, you'll see an incredible work of art that one of our White River nitwits, Maxi Fillion, made with our theme: peace, love, tolerance, and the various symbols. It is but magnificent. So 67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day, in brackets SA, because we're in countries all around the world. And just one of our recent posts is of Maxi Fillion's work of art. It is magnificent.
Fantastic, man. Just 2 more things quickly. Firstly, I know you guys are based all over the world. Do you perhaps know that this is everybody work on the same theme, correct? Peace, love, and tolerance 24. That'll be
absolutely.
So
yeah.
This year, you know what?
Love.
Do you perhaps know what the people in different parts of the world are making or have in mind? Are they also doing massive installations like the one you just showed me?
I know that in Cape Town they've done a beautiful blanket. Durban, they've done a beautiful peace, love, tolerance blanket. And I was in Durban about 2 weeks ago, where we did a distribution at a village called the Live Village, LIV. Have you heard of it? If not, I've got to tell you, it is incredible. So it was started by a man who had lost everything, but he wanted to make a difference. So he managed to get people to put money into the project, and he bought land, hectares of land. They've got an agricultural section, they've got a school, they've got houses, they've got a church, they've got a hospital, they've got a full-time doctor on board. I think they look after about 180 children who've been abandoned and thrown out into nothingness, except this nothingness is an incredible institution, home, called the Live Village. I was so impressed. I've never seen anything like it. Those kids, you can see the joy in their eyes. There's song, there's dance, and they feel that they belong. It's a huge family, and each home has got a mother with 4 children, and the mother looks after them.
Yeah, this is such a massive organization, and the way even the scale of your projects is massive. I think that's also a very interesting metaphor as well.
Yeah, so we're going all around the country. I think I've got about 20 stops for the next 2 months, working with our ambassadors, going into areas where there is need and engaging with the recipients of our labors of love and making it a special day, a day that hopefully they'll be able to remember and smile, and certainly they will have the most beautiful blanket to keep them warmer in the cold winter months. We try to distribute blankets before the cold sets in. We don't wait until July 18th to distribute blankets. We make every day a Mandela Day. We pride ourselves on responding to the immediate needs of the people.
Yeah, I was actually gonna that's fantastic. I was actually gonna ask, does it accumulate on the 18th of July? But like you say, it's an ongoing thing. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Just like in closing, I earlier on I saw you knitting there. Could you show us what you're knitting?
I am crocheting. There's a difference.
Crocheting.
Knitting is 2 needles.
Crocheting is
Crocheting
different.
1 hook, yes. And I'm making a blanket. And the stitch is
Looks
called
warm.
Corner to Corner. I too am an artist. And this will be wrapped around a young orphan child or an elderly person in the next month or so.
Okay, well, the blanket looks nice and warm. As you say, the winter is moving in. It is getting cold across SA. Carolyn Steyn, thanks for that. I think, like I said earlier on, I like the metaphor of everything being so large. These large installations, the many blankets. I think that's a really cool metaphor. For like a South African nation building metaphor that we can think and dream big. Many congrats once again on 10 years, and I hope you guys can have another 10 years. Like all your guys' information is on your website, correct? Or is there any other platform where people can reach out to you?
So we've got our website, www.67blankets.co.za. We're very Facebook driven. We encourage people to join us on Facebook because it's vibrant, it's colorful, it's warm, and you connect with amazing people. So on the one hand, there are people receiving blankets made with love. That's the whole idea behind 67 blankets. But in the process, something very beautiful is happening. People are coming together through bright, warm, colorful thread. And we like to say we're knitting our lives together. We're knitting our nation together. And we are knitting nations together. So Facebook, Instagram, we are twits as well as nitwits on Twitter or X at 67 Blankets, on Instagram at 67 Blankets, the number 67 Blankets. And we are everywhere. It's hard not to find us. You'll find us. Yeah, we're there. We're here. We're going nowhere.
That's fantastic.
And we're not a secret organization. We welcome people. And the fact is, when you put it out there and you do those massive activations, people see, and, they see it on the news. They see it in magazines. They see it in the newspapers. They want to be part of something big. There is the thought that if you're doing charity work, you should do it quietly. And I agree with that in many instances. But in this case, we encourage people to come on board, become part of this big, beautiful 67 Blankets family, and we shout it from the rooftops. We're not a secret organization. 67 Blankets for Nelson Mandela Day.
I think that's a very good way to end it. Speaking with a lot of passion there. It definitely comes through. Carolyn Steyn, thank you very much, my sister. All the best, and I hope you guys have another 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Moving forward. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day. I'll actually publish this episode this coming Friday. So I'll be with you. I'll be in touch with you guys. Have a fantastic day, man. And we'll talk soon. Thank you very much for coming through.
And you too. And one day we'll meet in person. I'll give you a crochet lesson.
Absolutely. We can definitely collaborate on some art. This is the platform for creative where these type of conversations start. So thank you, my sister, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, my brother.